to take in.
It is. What is that?
Good to go.
I was like, what is this? The quarter thumb?
Quarter thumb.
Welcome back to the Graybeard Podcast. I am the guy with the gray beard, but I brought one of my guys that's got a little gray on him too. I'm not going to be the only gray in the house. Actually, I'm just going to introduce him as Patrick's dad. Just kidding. It is Patrick's dad, but Mr. David McDaniels. Thank you for joining us, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm being all like professional with it, like, oh, thank you, sir, for coming in. It's not professional. We'll just do the same thing we were doing out there. But you've been on a podcast that I was with before, and we got to know a lot more about you. Yeah. And I'm going to probably ask you some of the same shit that we talked about before. Yeah.
Well, it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But the people that watch this show is a whole different audience. So like, as you guys know, David is Patrick's dad. So it's like, we got the whole family going now. I told him earlier, I was going to title this thing, My Two Dads. But I guess, and we were trying to figure out, like, are we brother-in-laws or we're not cousins? Like, what does that make you? Cause there's like son-in-law, daughter-in-law.
Uh-huh.
What about the parents?
Dad-in-law.
We don't get anything.
Yeah.
We don't get like a cool moniker.
I know. We're just left dangling out there in the wind.
Yeah.
Nobody to speak for us.
Less dangly, more pokey. But so you're well, we were going off on tangents about all kinds of fun stuff, but I want to give people a little background on you. You spent how many years with the in the police department?
Well, I worked for Clay County Sheriff's Office for
Clay County.
12 and a half years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that mic up to you, Dad.
Yeah.
He's going to get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just grab it right there.
Mic, please.
You can go up and down and back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, he is.
So,
let him do it.
Yeah.
I'll turn you up if I need to. You're good.
Yeah, about 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you get started? I mean, did you get started in Clay County, or is that like, what made you want to be a cop? A police officer.
At the time, 9/11 had just happened, and so I felt like everybody else did. I felt some outrage and disgust at what happened, and I think I felt like I needed to do something.
Right.
We all felt helpless, right? So at the time, I'd already made a decision to go back to school, and I was going to go for physical therapy, and hadn't really started anything other than the preliminary courses, and I don't really know where it come from, but I just wanted to try doing law enforcement. It was just one of them things, like a bucket list thing. Thought that'd be a cool job.
It was a cool job. Was it a cool job?
It was crazy. Yeah, it was a pretty cool job, and I got to meet so many people that were just top of their class.
Yeah.
And just some of the greatest people that you'll ever meet are in law enforcement. And then you get some, just like every job, there's going to be some that aren't that great to work with.
Unsavory characters.
But you got a lot of military type people, veterans that are in that community. And so it is kind of a quasi-military style
outfit.
Yeah, outfit with regards to how the hierarchy works and all that stuff. So it's if you're former military, you find it to be very welcoming.
You fit right in.
You fit right in. It's like, oh, I've bathed in this water before. This feels familiar. And but it was a great experience. I'm glad I got out of it when I did.
Why is that?
I don't think I was the right fit for dealing with the stressors that you deal with. I maybe looking back at it now, I might have experienced it differently.
How so? I'm confused.
Well, just
Only what you can say.
Well, yeah, I felt like I was afraid a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Here in Clay County?
Yeah, but you can't really show that.
No.
When you're living through your thoughts,
Yeah.
you start thinking about the what ifs all the time.
Right.
And I think I lived in that realm for a while.
Yeah, and you had a lot to like think about.
Yeah, you do. You know, those long shifts. You know, your mind's always going about the what ifs, and but I'm glad I did it. I mean, to have that experience is pretty far out. The different types of people that you see, and you kind of see the problems that a lot of people don't see. Societal problems, I think, and it really opens your eyes to like, well, what's really driving everybody? Why is everybody running around like hamsters in a cage?
Yeah.
To get this paycheck to buy stuff that's not going to make them happy. And you just see this, I don't know, you see things from like 10,000 foot view, maybe that you wouldn't see if you're, insulated from a 9-to-5 job. And,
Yeah, I have a huge respect for law enforcement. And one of the things that, like you said, and I made a comment and I thought to myself, that was a really dumb thing to say, because I was like, hey, here in Clay County, because I have always felt super safe out here.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend the other day, she got somebody sideswiped her out in Jacksonville, and then they ran off. They hit her and they ran. They just took off, and she chased him down for a little bit. And then she got his tag, and she called 911 right away while she's following him. And they told her to stop, pull over, and she did. And they said, we'll have somebody there shortly. And she waited for 45 minutes, and it was at that time it wasn't really bad traffic. He was just an asshole.
Yeah.
And so she was just like, well, I can't sit here anymore. She had Reese's, the yellow dog. She had him in the car. She had her daughter in the car. They were both starving.
There's a lot going on.
She was just like, you know what? It's not even worth it.
Yeah.
But I told her when she got home, I was like, if you were in Clay County, there would have been 4 patrol cars, one beside you, and then 3 more to follow the other guy. I was like, those people out in Clay County don't play.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah.
In Clay.
It's a little bit smaller of an area.
Smaller urban area. I don't know what the population is now in Clay, but
I think it's close to 200. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it was like 250,000 when I was, and we've had a lot influx lately.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows what those numbers are? But yeah, I've done some ride-alongs in Jacksonville with JSO, and met some great people there, and the ones I rode with are probably retired by now. But it was. Unless it was a felony in progress, they just had calls that were stacked.
Right.
And there's only so much they can do. They're just really shorthanded, and even in Clay County, I think that they're still understaffed. The Sheriff Cook has really done a good job with what she has to work with.
You guys are pretty close, pretty tight. Well, I know Nancy is.
I mean, I know Sheriff Cook well enough to say that she's just an outstanding person.
She seems like
very humble.
I've never seen anything about. I've never like watched anything that she's been speaking or read anything that she's done or But I don't really stick my toes in that water.
Yeah.
But she seems like a pretty all right person.
Yeah, I think so too. She's really turned the agency around. I'm not going to get into why she needed to, but
well, I mean, I'm sure that there's a little bit of that in every agency.
Mm-hmm.
232,000 in here in Clay County.
Oh, okay, so not quite.
How many in Jax?
Probably over 1 million.
Probably. I bet they count Clay County. They're like, it's the greater Jacksonville area.
Duval County is the second biggest city landmass wise in the U.S. behind Anchorage, I think, or Jacksonville. Yeah, 1.03 mil.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, it is, and I know that there's, and I don't know if this affected you at all, but like back in, what was it, 2010, 2012, they were talking about defund the police.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like that is like I mean, honestly, it's like the dumbest thing you could do. And I think California figured it out pretty. Well, you would like to think quickly, but they figured it out eventually.
Yeah.
Because they were like people were, all the riots were happening, and it's just like
officers getting shot in Texas, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was.
It's more dangerous.
When we had a president that was formerly a community agitator.
So this is a non-biased show.
Yeah, I don't know what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I remember in briefing one morning we had everybody was handed a memo from the Department of Homeland Security, making you aware that people with veteran stickers on their vehicles are people that you might want to look at a little more closely and scrutinize. And if you have the Gadsden flag, which I happened to have one at the time on my vehicle, which is the heel, the stepping on the snake, and the
don't tread on me.
Yeah.
Those
are the
I never
things
knew what it was called, but
that had come all the way from the Department of Homeland Security.
So they told you you need to be looking for the veterans and the people with those.
Yeah, just be aware, because these people are apt to be unhinged and very strong views a certain way that might pose a threat to law enforcement. So, and I thought that was very telling.
Yeah.
And I took great offense to that.
Well, I mean, especially since you had one of those things on your vehicle.
Yeah,
and
I think not my patrol vehicle.
Yeah, of course.
But I think a lot of the people that were in that briefing room felt the same way. It's like, just some more bullshit.
Yeah, blow your nose with it.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see a lot of that happening though? I mean,
No.
Was it like government trying to step in and be like, they don't want to outright say things, but they'll just kind of massage it into your face?
Not really.
No,
not really. I think we're pretty well insulated.
Yeah.
Especially here in Florida, I feel like.
Yeah. Especially now.
More of a freedom, individualism type of spirit down here, rather than like big city folk who fall in line. Have to ride public transport with each other every day. More of a sense of independence here, in my opinion. Yeah.
God, that would drive me absolutely crazy. I don't think I could live in a city like New York or like just a large city area.
Feel like a number. Concrete jungle.
Yeah, I mean, but you would imagine that there has to be like very rigid rules and like this is the way we do things, and everybody walks this way on this side, and it's just because there's so many people, you'll get trampled, or I mean, it's just I don't know, I can't imagine.
Have you been to New York City?
Never.
I've been there twice.
I've been to Chicago.
Short visits.
We went to Chicago one time, or a bunch of times, but like downtown Chicago, I've only been once. And it was just like the whole place was under construction. There was scaffolding everywhere and plastic visqueen. And it was just like, it looked post-apocalyptic a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening?
They're always in a state of construction, it seems like.
Right.
Yeah, so we ran across the same thing. I first went to New York City back in probably 1990, 91 in the military. We were going to a school in Pennsylvania, not too far from there, and decided to take the weekend and hang out on 42nd Street. Like six guys got one little hotel room, and we could barely get water pressure up to the umpteenth floor that we were at, but it was interesting.
So you were in the military?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah,
I know we've talked about this a billion times, but
right out of high school. Just
I'm dumb.
I think I
So he followed your path. He followed your trajectory.
Well, I think that I got the same speech from my dad that I gave to him. It's like, well, what are you doing when you're turning 18? Because you're not going to be living here.
Wow, you told him that?
Figure this
said that to him?
Yeah, 16 years old,
Jesus.
I think.
Figure it the fuck out.
Will you come over and tell my... No, I'm just kidding. Bianca?
But I had the confidence that, because I'd already seen his ability, even at that age, to support himself if he needed to.
Sure.
And that was your own lawn care business that you had when you were, 14 or something?
Something like that, yeah. Made like $1,500 one summer or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, 14.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he knew he could do it. I knew that he could do it. And so that fledgling that needs that little push out of the nest, and that was all it took. And so,
well, I'll definitely say that even before we met, you were somebody that I had a high regard for, not knowing anything about you. You know, I'm not trying to butter you up, but you know, I just after meeting this guy.
Yeah.
He was your best representative.
I was his liaison.
Wow. Yeah. I was married at the time, and I told her after the first time I met him, when they all the guys left, and I was like, we talk, like, and they were like, she was like, "What do you think about the boys?" And I was like, they're all right. I was like, that one though. She goes, "Which one?" I was like, because I came up and grabbed him on his shoulders because he was sitting in the chair I sit in at the dinner table. And I was like, the one I grabbed his shoulders, and she goes, "Oh, that's Patrick." And I was like, "Yeah." He's the only one that stood up and looked me in the eye and shook my hand and said, "How are you, sir?" I was like, wow. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Especially this day and age.
Yeah.
They don't get that. They're like, what is that? Why is that such a big deal? And I'm like, what were you, 15?
Yeah, 14, I think. Yeah.
14? I thought you were 15. But anyways,
14,
15 years old, for a young man that age to have that much like respect and and I've never demanded respect from anybody, but just for somebody to give it to me like that, I was like, that's his dad. I said his dad did that.
Yeah, well,
his mom and dad taught him how to, interact with.
I shook a lot of hands by the time I was that age.
Yeah.
So,
well, you spent a lot of time with your mother too.
Sitting through security briefings.
He would go to work with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't mean to take anything away from Nancy. Yeah. She's a great woman as well. Yeah. It took a pair, I'm sure, to get him. I mean, I don't know if he came out of the womb perfect, but I mean,
I think I came out of the womb almost dead. Actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I turned blue when I came out.
I think
popped all the capillaries in my lungs.
Good job. Yeah. Screaming so loud.
Gotta go hard, man.
Yeah. No, but so you were in the military you just did like a quick
just 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, the minimum.
Yeah, and then you went straight into the service, or I call it the service, the police department.
No, it was some time. So I was military 89 to 93.
Gotcha.
And when I got out, I ended up moving up here with my old roommate from the military. He was from this area. And in fact, I got out like a month before him, and I lived with his mom and did concrete work with her boyfriend.
It's a pretty good gig.
And it was nice. I think I still got calluses from that. But it was digging footers with a pickaxe and a shovel, but I did that long enough to know I didn't want to do that anymore.
Right. That was not something you wanted to do.
You're just too tired to even raise that beer up to your lips after working all day.
Dude, I know that.
Yeah. Now your son's taking a turn at that old manual labor.
There'd be nights where I'll get out of the attic at 8 or 9 p.m. and I just come home and go straight to bed. Just take a shower, go straight to bed.
Yeah.
Dinner.
Well, it's good to start that line of work when you're younger.
Yeah.
Well, if he does it, he's doing it now. I feel like by the time he's at, our age, he's going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah.
He'll either have his own outfit, or he'll be running a crew somewhere.
Yeah,
making gobs of money.
Yeah, that's just the natural order of things, I think.
And I think who the hell was it? Where you could probably look it up, but like the new batch of millionaires are no longer entrepreneurs and like
tradesmen.
They're tradesmen.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
because there's such a big demand, I guess.
Huge demand.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this for years. Our infrastructure is going to fall apart if everybody just wants to be a content creator.
Yeah.
Like I can't. That's one of my things. I wanted to have a podcast, and I didn't want it to consume my entire life.
Okay.
And I don't want to be a content creator.
Yeah.
Although you have to at this point. But if everyone in the world sees these guys playing video games on YouTube and and all this, and they're making gobs of money, and they're like, oh, I can do that too. I play video games. I can film myself. I can do that too.
Yeah.
And then they find out they can't.
Yeah.
But it's like if that's all they want to do, it's like, hey, our roads. Our sewage, everything's going to start falling apart. Bridges. I learned that back when I was watching Mike Rowe on Dirty Jobs.
I was just thinking about Mike Rowe. Apparently, his podcast has taken off.
Oh yeah, and, he's crushing it.
I love listening to that man. He's just
his voice.
Yeah, he was on Broadway for a while.
Yeah, he did. He did. He also did. What was it? Is it CVS?
Is the late night infomercials?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the CVC or
something like that. It's not CVS. Yeah. That's the pharmacy. But yeah,
it's
something.
Shopping on. Yeah.
Yeah. And he would sell shit online. Yeah. He was like, but yeah, he started out with like he wanted to be like a Broadway actor, and then he started doing that, and then it was, I think it's CVC. I think that's what it was.
QVC right there, yeah. Lava lamps.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
And then he started doing the whole I guess Dirty Jobs found him, or he actually created that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now he's got a not to pivot from you, but we're just having a conversation now, guys. But
I'm not very interesting compared to Mike Rowe.
Come on, you're great. But yeah, he's got a new, not new, it's been around for a while. It's like a foundation for people. I can't remember. I think it's called Microworks.
Okay.
And it sounds like Microworks, but it's Microworks. But it's like they support people. They give them scholarships to go to HVAC school, or and people that don't have the money but they want to learn a trade.
Yeah.
And because he's very big on the trades.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, he's such a dork. I was really upset because they brought back Dirty Jobs for like
one season,
it was like,
right?
7 episodes, one season, and then it just stopped.
America is profoundly disconnected.
Yeah.
We're working to change that. I love that.
I listen to that's one of the podcasts I listen to as well. I like his podcasts, but I took a break from it because he decided he was going to read the book that his mom wrote, and he was like, "This is my next podcast. I'm just going to read the book." And it was like the next 7 episodes he was reading her book, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to listen to that.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped listening to the podcast, but I'll pick it back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's definitely a great dude. I don't know how they award these things.
Whiners.
0 whiners rewarded.
So 8.7 million plus work ethic scholarship granted.
So if you
19 skilled trades supported.
Yep.
Over 19.
And it's funny that he's the perfect person for this, I think. Because all those jobs that he did were basically a lot of infrastructure jobs, a lot of blue collar jobs.
Oddball jobs.
The one that really sticks out in my mind is he was repairing a bridge one day, and that was one of the things he was talking about. He's like, if nobody does this, what happens? And of course they'll fall apart, and we won't be able to get to the places we need to go.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are going to die. I mean, it's
we had that not too long ago up there in the Northeast.
Yeah,
bridge collapse.
Mm-hmm. Which bridge was that?
Pennsylvania.
Was it Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it was one in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Biden was campaigning there that week too.
Rip.
Yeah. When John Fetterman was running for election.
There's been a lot of instances where he was campaigning, or things didn't get handled properly. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the people in the Carolinas are still hoveled.
That's probably changed since. Yeah.
I think they put most of them up in like hotels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's funny when look at little spider friend.
Oh, nice.
He just dropped in to say hi. When they were doing it before, the other administration was there before. Mm-hmm. The people that were, their homes got destroyed. They couldn't get in. They couldn't get a hotel because the FEMA people and all the government people were there taking up the hotels. Which is
not what was supposed to happen.
I got you, baby. You just hang out right there.
Well,
we save spiders around here.
I just watched a podcast with my wife, and which is unusual because normally she's not really into podcasts.
Yeah.
And she says, "Who is this Sean guy?" I said, "Sean Ryan."
Oh.
And I showed her a picture of Sean Ryan, and she's like, "Yeah, who is that guy?" And I told her a little bit about it. You know, there's an interview he just did with Lindy Lee.
I don't know who that is.
Well, she was one of the bigger donors for the left.
Okay.
And she felt like she had some kind of connection with Joe Biden when she was younger. Upon first meeting him, because he was so polite.
Sniffed his hair.
He remembered my dad's name, and whatever the reason, but she felt enamored by this guy. And
so she was a psychotic billionaire?
She's very successful in everything she does. She's probably a really good pianist based upon the music that she says she played on the piano. And she's very, very heady as far as being able to grasp financials, and worked in that arena for some time. But it was a great podcast, and I think where I was going with it is that she divulged a lot of things, a lot of personal things during that hour and 45-minute podcast, and one of them was who was actually running the show.
Right.
Was a lot of, like, it was, I think 5 or 6 particular 20 to 30-something-year-olds that were Joe Biden's staffers that were actually running things.
Oh, yeah.
And their decisions were being made by, this was Obama's third term, is how
basically,
she put it.
Yeah.
And you could kind of see him lurking in the shadows when Kamala got fingered.
He was always there.
Tapped to, maybe she was fingered.
Hey.
Yo.
Hey.
But
Wow.
so it's a really good podcast. Lindy Lee, from what I saw somebody that was opening herself up.
Okay.
And it looked like she was being honest. And
a lot of people do talk, though, and you feel like they're being honest. And there's some good actors out there.
For sure. People that are trained.
I'm not even sure if they're trained or psychotic.
Yeah, it could.
But I'll have to watch it. I listen to his show as well, so I'll have to check that out.
I think this is the latest one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot. He's done several in the last
No, he's
week
good.
or so. But
he's good.
He's always trying to bring out the truth.
Yeah.
And so that's one I'd recommend, and it really spells out just who was running the show or who wasn't running the show.
Right.
So,
Which we all kind of knew.
Yeah.
I mean, and people kept saying it was his speech. He had a speech impediment. I'm like, no, I don't know. I mean, he would just murmur off into the voice.
Well, you go back into the tapes from just 4 years ago, and he's a completely different person.
And then people would usher him off the stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they discussed that on the podcast.
Handlers,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I literally felt bad, like they were pushing somebody's old senile granddad up onto the stage every time he'd get up there. And I'm just like, it didn't look good.
Yeah.
It didn't look good for me as an American citizen.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not good, but for him and for America, for the people that are watching, the foreign actors that are, that are out there that are like just waiting to see a chink in the armor, to see some, some weakness.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we showed it to them.
Well, maybe we were just paying him off to keep him from really doing damage to our country while he was.
Might have been. I mean, there's all we were just talking about all those crazy
all the
spends.
USAID stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. But through podcasts like this, not that we're going to
not going to change the world,
rediscover the atom, or whatever, but it's being done in bigger platforms.
Oh yeah. No, there's people that have been doing it a lot longer than me. And, they get down to the nitty gritty, and we're not really, it's not really designed to be a world changing thing. It's more entertainment, but, but for sure, there's somebody out there is like listening to either me or him or whoever's on. I don't know. Somebody's listening because there's numbers up.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
We're not talking earth-shattering numbers, but there's still some numbers. So there are people watching and listening. So it does make me feel good that there are people out there doing that. And that I'm entertaining some people, or we are entertaining, and people like to hear our little conversation. So this is like a one of them what do you call it, front porch conversations.
Yeah. It's the best way to get it done, I think.
Yeah. I think so. I enjoy it. I just like talking to people.
And I think there's a lot of people that share the same thoughts that we have.
There are some, and there are some that don't. But I try to stay as nonpartisan as possible. Just me personally. Yeah. Not just on the podcast, but in my life. Yeah. You know, I don't. There are some things I'm very vocal about, but dude, I just I don't know, man. I feel like that's my business. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But like, if people wanted to talk about their feelings about different, I would never stop them. Yeah. So like, if you were like super right, and then like next week I got a super lefty on, like, great. You know, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
You're willing to.
Yeah, I'm just here to ask questions and, you know, get to see how you think about the thing. Yeah. You know, like, and you're here sitting in the chair, so I love to hear your opinions and how you feel about it. But we're definitely not like factual. Yeah. Like, I would hope that nobody's getting their news from me.
Oh yeah. Well, that's being done. You know, that's being done elsewhere.
That's on TikTok. People get their news from TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Well, that may be a thing of the past. I know there's so many things that are changing. Yeah, it is like Christmas every day, though, to some degree.
There's also a lot that talks about being changed, but isn't. Like the whole TikTok went down for an hour a couple weekends ago, and then it came back up. And that was like the deadline for it to be sold, and
they put an extension on
minds. Yeah, you know, but it's like they're testing the waters constantly to see how the population reacts.
Yeah,
you know, it's all of it's like a litmus test almost.
Well, that's why I sent you that pod, because the guy that was on there, I can't remember the guy's name. He's a doctor. You'd have to look on your phone, but I can't remember his name. But he was talking about just one thing that they were talking about in like a 4-hour podcast.
Robert Epstein?
Huh?
Was it Robert Epstein?
It might have been. But he was saying that how back in, and I don't remember the year, but Google literally shut down the internet for 40 minutes one day. And it was like, everybody talked about it for a minute, and then it went away.
Yeah.
But, you know, and there was really, I mean, very little investigation done into it. But it was like a big deal. Like, I don't even remember it happening. But I think what they did was they did it like overnight when the stock market had closed.
Okay.
So in the time between it closing and opening, they did it then because they didn't. And it was just they're like, let's just do it for 40 minutes. And it was basically the geeks that work at Google.
They're retooling their servers or something.
No, they just wanted to see that that they could do it.
Oh,
so they like if you were awake at those hours or anywhere in the world where internet reached and you were trying to access a website, you would not be able to access any website because back at that time there wasn't apps. It was all online. It was all websites.
Yeah.
So they basically, the way they did it was they labeled every single website out there, every .com or whatever, as like a harmful website. Yeah.
Interesting. Just to see what would happen.
Just to see if they could do it. Yeah. And just like the way he described it was they're all a bunch of nerds and they did some geek shit.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see if they could get away with it. But, you know, what was the host of that show was just like, he kept going back to, well, how did they do it? How did they do that? Did they have like a button that you can just shut the fucking internet down with? Yeah. Like, how do you shut down the internet?
Yeah.
It's bigger than Google.
Yeah, I don't know. Because you would think there would be more than just one centrally located server. I mean, I don't know how that would work.
I don't either. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure. What is even the internet? If you think about it, because, you know, websites, you need servers.
Yes.
But there's internet.
Yes.
So what the hell is it? Is it, I mean, it used to just be like a phone line and information traveling, you know, because we had dial-up.
Yeah.
But now everything's through the air.
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
You have to say unalive now. You can't say the word kill. No,
I don't know.
I'm going to kill you. No, wow. I think that's just one of my pet peeves about social media and the internet and all this. I am one thing I am harping about is censorship, because I think that is one of the biggest freedoms that when it goes bye-bye, we're all a little screwed.
Do you feel like it was under attack recently?
Yeah.
I do too.
For sure. It still is. From algorithms on websites, that is a sense, I mean a sort of censorship.
Yeah.
Because you have an algorithm. This is what you like to see. You don't need to see this other stuff. You're being censored from other things that you might want to see.
Yeah.
It's curated.
Yes.
I don't think that
under the guise of capitalism, like to market, let's market this group for these certain types of views or products because they're more apt to view think that way because they like this product. I mean, it is a little. It's very powerful.
But when they shut it down, you think about it, when they shut down speech.
Yeah.
Don't matter what you got going. That's when the real. I think that's like the beginning of the fire sale. I mean, I think when freedom of speech is completely gone, you're either everyone's gonna fall in line, or there may be an upheaval, an uprising.
Well,
it's
I grew up drinking. I grew up drinking.
Same here.
Wow. Yeah, from the
shots all around.
That's my dad.
I drinking the Kool-Aid. No, I grew up reading Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, and it's like they wanted that one ring that could bind them all together, right? And rule everybody. And the internet's an awful powerful tool.
Sure
if you look at it in that scope, it could definitely be used for nefarious purposes.
And it has.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Nobody questions Google. They questioned Mark Zuckerberg. They questioned Twitter when it was Twitter. And they said that, social media was the reason, that there were all these troll accounts, like Russian troll accounts, that were swaying the election. And from what the experts that I've heard from and the people that, they were like, that's not really what they wanted to do. There's definitely Russia. You can Google troll farm or
Macedonia,
and it's like
farm.
A room, and you see all these cell phones, and there's people in chairs just sliding across, and they have websites on Facebook, and it'll say like 19 of the top 20 religious websites. 19 of them are from Russian troll farms.
Yeah, it was on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was on Facebook. Well, so they're doing that. And all they want to do is sow the seed of dissension. They just want us to fight amongst ourselves. So they would start a rally for this group. And then right across the street from it, they would start another rally of the opposite group. Yeah. And then they would start a fight that way. Yeah. But it was literally people that don't even live in the U.S.
This just came out. Mike Benz, if you don't know who Mike Benz is.
I don't. Educate me.
He's a government intelligence guy that is aware of all these nefarious acts that are going on within the government. He just had an episode with Tucker Carlson the other day, who lays out all about how George Soros funded Black Lives Matter protests, and how all these NGOs had different dealings when it came to protests for Palestine, for Black Lives Matter, for even the Charleston incident when Trump was in. That was all FBI government guys. I mean, you're talking about, you've got 100+ people that are in the same boots, same uniform, same haircut, not taking their mask off. This is all obviously paid. Alex Jones had a word, agent provocateurs. So it's this shit's been going on for a while under the guise of U.S. aid, under the guise of billions going to these NGOs, non-government organizations. A name like that just automatically raises flags, in my opinion. We have to state right from the beginning that we're non-government organization.
Right.
Don't ask any questions from there. Yeah, so it's just...
Well, who was it that was being questioned about that? There was a lady in Congress that was just being questioned, and she was they were asking her about the agent of provocateurs.
Yeah.
And she was like, I can't answer that question.
Yeah. Well,
this was a while back.
It was Christopher Wray as well, the J6 January 6 trials and everything like
right.
that. The head FBI.
And they were like, and she was like, I cannot answer that question. What do you mean you can't answer that? It's a yes or no question, bro.
Yeah, did you or did you not? I can't answer that.
Yeah. That's what makes me feel a little dodgy about the whole thing.
I don't do social media anymore.
Good for you.
Until recently, I hadn't watched the news.
You're doing
in a long
it today,
time.
just FYI.
Yeah. Well, because you don't know what to believe anymore. You listen to the news on one channel, and it might be 180 from what another channel says. So you really you have to question everything, right?
Yeah, or they all parrot each other.
Yeah, there's that too.
And there's many video clips. I love it when they do these montages where they take all the news media together and they say the same shit, and they start with one and then it goes to two, and it's just like by the end it's the whole screen
is full of people
and they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, say this.
That's creepy.
Yeah, well, they don't investigate. There's no investigative journalism, right? It's
no.
Dead.
Yeah, totally dead.
So.
Well, that's I don't know if you've noticed or seen this what's the girl's name? The new press secretary.
I can't remember.
The young girl.
She's doing a heck of a job.
She's kicking ass and taking names, dude. But I don't know if it was her idea but they set up seats in that press room for new media. Podcasters. They have seats for podcasters.
Nice.
I mean, I'll never go because what the hell am I going to ask her? I don't.
Do you need help with the plane fare? We'll get you there, brother.
I don't have the credentials, my man, and I wouldn't want to be in that room.
Caroline Leavitt.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
No, she's pretty cool. And
what's the shelf life for somebody that does that job?
Maybe 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Is it?
Give or take.
You think? I feel like Trump's going to have her all four.
Well, it just depends on if your president's senile or not.
He's going to have her on all
lot
fours.
Easier or harder.
This one, I don't know about.
Green Jean-Pierre.
I don't. I mean, I felt cringy every time I watched any of her videos. This one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know her name.
Green Jean-Pierre.
Yeah. But I just felt like I was like, they just put this poor girl up here, and she don't know nothing. I mean, she tried to really, but she was like stonewalling people and
gaslighting.
It just felt like there wasn't a lot of information being shared.
Yeah. At the risk of sounding racist, you put an angry black woman up there, and it's gonna shut a lot of people down.
I don't know if she was angry before the. I think she became angry after like halfway through the job. I mean, personally, I don't really know. I didn't watch her progression.
Yeah, I'd seen her speak a few times, and I mean, she had a hard job to do.
That's a very hard job.
Yeah. When you've got these direct questions and you're trying to navigate through all that and tote the party line and all that, it's a difficult. I wouldn't want that job. She
seemed like she was just almost too nice and too soft spoken.
Oh, I didn't see that, but
maybe. I guess when I'm like, you're dealing with all these. She looked like to me when I would watch a press conference with her. I felt like it was a rabbit in front of a bunch of lions.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I don't, I'm not saying, I don't know. I don't, I guess it was very few because I would just be like, I'm not getting any information from this lady.
Didn't see much information being passed down to the media at that time. And like I said, that's a very tough job that she was doing.
And if you're in a position of where you have to talk to people, if you're not getting information, or if they're, if your bosses aren't telling you things, or you got to decide. I mean, like it seems very open, like with this Levy girl, Leavitt.
Yes,
they have they have round table meetings with her every day, and she knows exactly what they want, what they're doing.
Yeah.
So she's extremely knowledgeable about the situation.
She seems very confident.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a problem setting the tone as soon as she gets in that room.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I do too. The transparency is something that's refreshing.
That part,
and it's like at every opportunity. And you could hate Trump, you could love him, you could think he's maniacally egotistical, whatever. Because every time there's a camera around, he's there talking. It seems like. But I think what he's trying to do, and he's doing this with more clarity than he did the first 4 years, is he's trying to be transparent because he's doing everything that he ran on. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, everything that
he did that the first time he was president. He did everything that he ran on.
I will give him this. Yeah. He is a smart dude. Okay, like he knew when he first ran and he became president. He knew before he won the election. He knew the American people are tired of this same tone and jargon.
Yeah.
And very political jargon, and we talk to you like you're fucking retarded.
While they're committing fraud.
Oh, you can't say that word anymore.
While they're committing fraud,
Right. And but they talk to you so eloquently.
Yeah.
And dude, not always. Sometimes, the first time I heard him.
You're talking about President Trump?
The first time I heard President Trump as the president, when he dropped he said something about kick the shit out of him or something like that. I don't know, but I was just like, you've never heard a president talk like that.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like, okay, I don't know nothing about him. I don't know anything about him, but that made me feel kind of good.
Yeah.
Like he's one of us.
To see that side.
Yeah, he's just like a regular person.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's not. That's all right. He's obviously not just a regular person.
Yeah.
What are you pulling up here?
Oh, just when Trump was on Oprah in 1988.
Didn't they loved him?
Oh, they loved him.
Oh, they adored him.
They ate the corn out of his shit.
Yeah.
Literally.
How quickly allegiances change.
Newspapers last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies,
Oh, this is on
forgetting
Oprah.
about the enemies. The enemies you can't talk to so easily. I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of
1988.
years. Because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion. And yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade.
All right, can't show too much of that. That's Oprah. We will definitely get shut down.
Yeah, she's got her.
Would you ever?
Look, here's the important question.
Presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped apart.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
What do you think of this year's presidential race, the way it's shaping up?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. I think that probably George Bush has an advantage in terms of the election. I think that probably people would say that he's got like that little edge in terms of the incumbency, et cetera, et cetera. But
80s hair.
I was just saying.
Same thing.
Something about Mary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and what's crazy is the fact that he said that back in 1988.
He's consistent.
And that's the same thing he's running on now.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, if we're being honest if everybody would just be honest, this is what we want. I mean, this is what I have always said. I just hope that whoever makes it in there does the best job that they can possibly do. And what that means is for the people. Yeah.
Not just kicking a can down the road again. And
same shit.
Having your friends get rich.
You can't. I mean, obviously, we all know the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's what we've been doing for the last 16 years minus the 4 or whatever. I mean, and what people keep talking about the prices of eggs. Well, he's been in office for a month, and they're like, you said I bet you regret it now. Yeah. Well, it didn't help that they killed how many millions of chickens right before he took office?
5 million last year alone, I think.
Yeah.
Due to the bird flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of things that seemed to happen that I noticed. Not that I wasn't looking for them, but I definitely noticed the things that happened right before the last administration left office that were setting this administration up to be a lot more difficult.
For failure, setting the next president.
I didn't use that word because I don't think that he's going to fail.
I don't either. don't either. But they weren't helping him. I know what you're saying.
Unless they finally get to him, and
there are a lot of things to unpack just over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the chickens that were killed. It just raised the price of everything. It was like almost intentional to just hold us hostage monetarily.
Yeah.
I mean, the taxes the middle class were paying, it seemed to me, in my opinion, is very high. I had to cash in both of my 401ks just to pay taxes last 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm not making a lot of money. And the insurance for, homeowners insurance, flood insurance going up and up and up.
Yep.
So,
it's tough, man.
It's tough for everybody all around. And
well, that's what I said too. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for the other either.
Yeah.
But my daughter, my youngest, she's in that age range, and she was, saying the things that they say, that he's a rapist, that he's a racist, that all the things that people say, all the tag words or whatever you call them, the hot button words.
Yep.
And a lot of that stuff, is not true. If you really dig into it and you look into it, none of that stuff is true.
Yeah.
And I know they just dropped all the charges. Didn't you see that, or am I mistaken?
No, they did.
Yeah, they just dropped all the charges from all those
misdemeanors turned felonies.
Yeah, all that stuff that they brought up after his term.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that.
Yeah, they did. They nulled them basically, like they never existed. But it's just, she would say all the things, and I would be like, "Is that true?" Because I just ask questions. I'm like, I don't know him. I don't know. He might be. I don't know. Yeah. But I say, how much research did you really do?
Yeah.
Did you just hear it on a TikTok? Did you just hear it somewhere, a friend or someone that you trust that said that? And I worry about that because a lot of the younger people, they don't really do a lot of research. And if they do, they go to the right, they just go to like one source.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with Google, because a lot of people go Google everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if Google owns the internet, basically, they are the shepherd of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very one way.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the things you Google are curated to see what they want you to see. And so it leaves a lot of people, and again, I'm no expert.
Yeah. Neither am I.
Yeah.
Neither am I, but we all have opinions that are, valuable opinions in this democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like there's never going to be the right answer for people governing other people.
Yeah.
We're always kind of trying to find where,
like a happy medium.
Is it a path of least resistance?
Right.
Is it the one that makes the most people happy? Is it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
I
don't trust any of them, really. None of them.
Yeah.
Like if I was in a room with them and there was like, it was like a sandwich and a knife, and we were going to be locked in that room for 2 days, I don't know. What would you do? You know what I mean? Like, I know they would probably try to go at me.
Yeah.
Are you going to split the sandwich, or are we going to kill each other over the? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but I feel like there's a lot of fuckery in government in general, whether you're on the right or the left.
Yeah. Well, and I think that all falls back to people wanting power. Right?
That
control, power, money, and all that stuff. There's it's a really dark road that you go down when you start getting some power, I think, and you get a taste of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I would, yeah. But I'm pretty powerless too. But you see it.
Yeah, and once you get it, the more you get, the less you want to give it up.
I think so. I think that was, the whole why they're calling this Obama's third term. Lindy Lee, I think, was the one that quoted it as that. Just people can't give it up.
Yeah.
There's too many trappings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we saw a lot of that with COVID too. Like during that time. Oh, I said that hot button word.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your censors, YouTube.
Yeah.
There's your hot button word.
No, we have to go a lot further and act like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we have to start talking about nanobots and shit.
No, we haven't talked about
for them to pull an episode.
We got an episode pulled because we were talking about some crazy shit.
Oh,
and it was just like a video I saw. I was like, I was just telling the guest about this video I saw, and boy, they didn't like it.
This was right before the election.
Yeah.
Right before.
I think injection sites being red and itchy and little, what are they really putting in our bodies? And,
who knows? But I mean, and what's funny is now it's like all mainstream. Like it's all over the media now.
Oh, yeah.
Like the lab leak theory. But what I was getting at was with COVID, all right, we're going to shut down the whole fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
Stay home, shelter in place, taking away all of your freedoms.
Yeah.
And it's like once you give that up, they don't want to give it back.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see how much more they can take.
They sure didn't in California.
Oh my God, they went on and on.
They were citing people that were going to the beach.
They just made a mask mandate a couple months ago. California, still doing it.
Well, and it got very.
Yeah, I can see that with the fires. I mean,
that's a different story.
This is for COVID, though.
Oh, was it?
This was still for COVID. Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
That's craziness.
They pardoned Fauci, but there was something in the
he'll
news
always get pardoned
recently about him where he admitted.
Well, he admitted to the lab leak thing, I think.
I think there's something he admitted to that. But he was only pardoned for federal charges, so states can pick up.
Mm-hmm. And I think, I think, I don't know, but I think that it was it was proven and it was put out by media and what have you that it was actually from the Wuhan lab.
Yeah. I
think. I don't know. I don't recall all the specifics, but I'm fairly certain that it was confirmed that it was. And but if for a while, if you had said that on any platform, your shit got taken down.
Yeah.
Goes back to that First Amendment.
That's Well, I mean, Zuckerberg went on, Joe Rogan podcast and admitted to the fact that he complied with our government.
Yes.
To censor people.
Yeah. Who knows what kind of pressures they put on him.
Well, they put him through hell. They put him through a lot of court hearings, a lot of Senate,
I also think they
hearings.
paid him a shitload of money, too.
Me too, because why didn't you say this 4 years ago if it really bothered you that much? Because he came on to Joe Rogan's show under the sentiment of, I'm actually upset that they did this to me.
Right.
There was none of that attitude.
Playing the victim.
There was none of that attitude when it was going on.
No.
It was, we'll follow the orders. You know what I mean? Don't pull it. Don't yank us. Don't fine us. Don't do nothing. But then again, EU came after Facebook and Google and fined them $8 billion for mis and disinformation and stuff like that in the last year or two. So I understand how he has to toe that fine line where he can't speak out. He'll get his shit yanked.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the hard thing about owning a social media platform, I imagine. How do you police it? Should you police it?
Yeah. Well, if you ask some people, no, you shouldn't police it at all. Let the laws of the land dictate what's legal to post. You're not gonna post somebody killing a child on
right
or whatever.
Terms of service, I get. You're going to have those types of things.
Yeah.
You can't be doxing people. You can't be posting stuff like what you just said.
Yeah.
Threatening.
You can't be
no
threats. But outside of that, if you have a belief in something, if you believe that rocks are God, then you should be able to say that and not get pulled.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's stupid, and and people are going to make fun of you.
But it's another opinion.
But it's your opinion.
How do you value? Yeah. How do you devalue somebody's opinion?
Right.
It's like we're playing God if we do that.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say? Well, this thing is okay to say, but not that thing. I mean, and it may not be okay to say, but you should still be able to say it.
Yeah.
And there was a very wise man that said that by you combat bad speech with better speech.
Yeah.
I don't remember who that wise man was.
Joe Rogan.
It was. I'm definitely I'm not obsessed with that dude, but I listen to. He's got a fuckload of podcasts.
Yes.
And you could go on and on forever. I've been listening for the last 5 years, and I'm still not caught up. I started at episode 15 because
I tried to go to the beginning.
The first 15 episodes are completely unlistenable.
Yeah. Well, there was he made a lot of changes.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, from his living room, I think.
Yeah. And then it just once they got microphones, it started getting better. I was like, okay, I can handle it.
And once he had a sponsor, what was it?
Fleshlight.
Fleshlight, yeah.
I've sent them emails.
I like your product, by the way, but looking for a sponsorship.
I've never owned one. Never owned a Fleshlight.
You just rent one?
Yeah. No, I had an off-brand one, but it wasn't a Fleshlight. Anyways.
Yeah.
We'll cut that part out.
Yeah, cut that. I reached out to them, but yeah, no, I mean, I think that's true with the you combat bad speech with better speech, and not only that, but like people that are being hateful towards whatever it is, whether if they're being racist or if they're being insightful, and any trying to incite.
Yeah, there's no place for that.
Well, the other users will root them out.
Yeah,
true.
And you don't have to cancel them. We will.
Yeah, like they say, the market will dictate.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that there's been people that have said dumb things on the internet often, and they get fied down so horribly by the people that have commented on their stupid post that they've unalived themselves.
Well,
there's a whole movie based on it.
Yeah. Like Vivek Ramaswamy, he was supposed to be part of the Department of Government Efficiency, and
right.
I guess a tweet had resurfaced from like 2 years ago. He was calling out Republicans and saying some borderline racist shit, and he got yanked off of that shit right there just for something that he said on the internet 2 years ago, over 2 years ago. So. Yeah, that shit lives on forever.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if you dig in everybody's past, you're going to find something.
Everybody's got skeletons.
Yeah,
Very true.
No, what the hell was I? What did that just made me think of something. Oh, the fact that, like, when Trump was in office, he got...
The first go-around?
The first go-around. Yeah. They kicked him off of Twitter.
Yeah, well, they threw so much at him trying to get him to deviate from his plan.
Yeah.
And I think to some degree it worked,
Well, it's just weird that you could deplatform the president of the United States.
Yeah, that's...
Though, I will say, I read some of his tweets, and I was kind of like, all right, bro, you need to tone it down a little bit. That's not cool. You can't be calling out your...
He's come a long way, I will say that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I said his game...
Well, he's...
Like, he did that in the beginning on the first 4 years.
He's got the right people around him now.
He's like, they want people to talk like them, like regular people, And now he's kind of tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
He's been a little more presidential these days. I mean,
well, I think he's more focused, more determined than ever. And I think so is his wife. And part and parcel because of the raid that was done on Mar-a-Lago on their home. And
I didn't hear about that. Yeah. Tell me about
that.
Well, didn't the FBI do a raid on their home?
Yeah. When was that?
They were
July
looking,
of 2023.
Yeah, this was some time ago.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember.
His wife's name is Melania, right?
Yeah,
Melania.
And she was trying to get the agents to, I guess, not go in her son's room or something to that. And they basically just did what they wanted to do, and as they're rifling through her underwear drawer, they're laughing and smiling, having a good old time. And she really, I think, took that to heart, and she didn't want anything to do with this anymore. But I think she's more resolved to see it through now because of all of those actions.
I've watched a couple of interviews with her, and she definitely seems like she's on board.
Yeah.
And she's doing her own thing now. Like, whereas before she was like really kind of quiet and reserved and just kind of like wallflowery. And then, now she's really stepped up into the limelight, and she's kind of been forced into it. What do we think about The View?
Not much. It's entertainment for some people.
I feel like it's done. I feel like they gotta be. If they're not done, then what are they on, CBS?
I think it's CBS.
Yeah, I feel like they might be done if they don't get them off of there because
How many lawsuits do they have now?
Well,
3.
Melania is suing them for like $900 million. for like defaming her.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa. Like
Yeah.
when the president's wife sues you for $900, I don't know how much that company has. They've been around forever, like CBS. But if it were me and you just cost me $900 million, that was your last episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how much money is in the machine to keep it operating? You know what I mean? Because, well, like the USAID report that just came out yesterday, $8 million went to Politico each year. For 32 government subscription accounts, yada yada yada, but it's like how many of these institutions being propped up by NGOs and USAID and government taxpayer dollars? Like we're about to find all of that out very shortly.
Yeah, that's been my favorite part of
now.
This
They've
whole
shifted
thing.
to the Pentagon, so this is going to be an interesting one. I mean,
Well,
this is shit that JFK tried to do.
The press, some of the press members have their own offices at the Pentagon, I guess, and I think some of them have been ousted and told to pack their things up and leave. And then like now I think Fox has an office there. I don't know, I'm getting this third person, you know, 'cause I don't watch the news much.
Well, I mean, what is there to watch? You don't never know anymore. We've lost during the COVID times, I think, is when a lot of things happen. A lot of people in the United States kind of woke up a little bit. Not became woke, but we woke up to what was happening.
I went a little nuts.
Yeah.
I went a little crazy during that time.
How so?
Me too.
Why'd you go nuts?
Because it's just everybody's denying the obvious,
Yeah.
you know, and it just none of it made sense.
Yeah. No, and I think that's when we lost, like, especially with media.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost a lot of confidence.
They did it to themselves.
Really
it was a
did.
great strategy for cutting the population.
I feel like if this had happened in the 80s, probably would have gotten away with it.
Yeah. It was overplayed a bit.
Well, they went so far, and it's like, do you guys realize we all have the internet? Like, you do realize everything you do, someone's going to find out.
Yeah.
There's no secrets anymore.
Yeah, I think the TV is very much generational. You know, I don't think that it has much use for you and I anymore.
No.
Because we've been burnt too many times. And we know it's all just crap.
Facade.
Yeah, it
Well,
seems to be.
You get these 7-minute segments, and you want to talk about hard pressing government issues and really important matters, and you have 7 minutes, and there's 4 commercials that are 2.5 minutes apiece.
Yeah.
So you really don't have that much time, you know. And if you're trying to interview a doctor or someone that's like, hey, this message needs to get out, you have a large platform.
Yeah.
And and they don't get to get their message out.
Yeah.
Because they're like, all right, we'll see you next week. Or, it's like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't flow. It's not a natural progression into this topic that we've chosen today. Yeah, because we got a break for commercial.
Right.
Here's another medication that's going to cause bloody stool.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
We need less of that.
Yeah,
less
for
of
sure.
that. And I think that's happening. And I on one hand, I'm just thrilled to death over this. I'm trying not to get excited because emotions are evil.
Are they?
Yes.
How so?
All thoughts
Explain
and all
that.
emotions are evil.
I feel like somebody's being facetious.
No, unless they're practical thoughts. Our thoughts will have us believe in all sorts of things that aren't true.
Yeah.
And
boy, I know that. I'm an overthinker.
Yeah, and I have been too. And somebody that's smart like that can
manipulate that.
They can explain away almost anything, any type of irrational behavior, I think. So there's something to not thinking so much.
His name is Gavin Newsom, okay?
Well, I think the problem is there's not enough, like, I think a lot of people we have been funneled into, like, thinking a certain way because of what we've been told, and like you said, those things manipulate us. Google manipulates the search results. They manipulate what we see. I really wish I would have saved sound bites, but I didn't. But there was the guy that I was talking about. He did an actual, like, it was like a double blind
placebo,
whatever. Well, it was, it's not a placebo because it's, it's the internet. It's not like you're putting the internet in your mouth. Some people maybe, if you're in the Matrix, which we are. But he did like an experiment where they had like a group of people, randomized controlled study.
Okay.
So they had like a group of people, and then they were looking things up, and they were monitoring what they were looking up, but they were looking it up on their server. So they set up and built a server that is exactly what Google does.
Okay.
And they had control over it. So they were like, what do we want them to think this week?
Yeah.
And then anytime they would Google anything, they would send them what they wanted them to see.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the month, they were like, those people thought that thing.
Yeah.
Like they thought their mind completely shifted from one way to the other. And it don't matter what it is.
Yeah.
The internet and everything you Google, everything you look at, Alexa's, Siri, everything, all the little things that we have, they're all
stored somewhere.
And it's stored, and it's constantly listening.
And it's probably attached to your email, your IP address, or whatever.
Everything.
Yeah.
And there's a file on us that's 18 billion pages long.
There's got to be some dry reading.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably stored somewhere, but.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it sounds very conspiracy theory, like why do they need that? Why do they need, because you never know. I mean, who knows, but here's why they need it: for marketing, for selling shit, for swaying public opinion.
Yeah.
They need all of that information.
Yeah.
They want to know what you think.
You might run for office one day. We need to figure out, what
you
does
might.
this guy really...
Not you, not me. I'm not running for shit. There's way too many skeletons in my closet.
Yeah, so...
I don't need anybody rooting around.
Marketing, I could understand marketing being part of that explanation.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they would need...
Are you talking about capitalistic style marketing for revenue, driving revenue? And,
yeah, I could see that. I mean, everybody wants to get paid. Google wants to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably getting paid by advertisers.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Of course. And that's
and they're going to push the one that's paying them the most. They're going to push that. I mean, I think that's just human nature and the way the world works.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there should be drug commercials.
No, I don't think so either. I guess overseas you don't see that.
Mm-mm. There's only two countries, us and was it New Zealand?
New Zealand,
yeah.
And they're very limited.
Very.
And there's a lot of guidelines around what they can actually promote and how they do it.
And my goodness, the list of side effects that they're... That's half the commercial is the side effects.
My favorite part
is
when they do the side effects and you see this dude shooting a hoop and everybody's smiling and they're talking about may cause anal bleeding. You'll be fine, but you'll be bleeding from both eyes for the next 40 years.
Severe depression.
Yeah. Suicidal thoughts.
Heart palpitations.
Jesus. No one thinks that why are you showing me happy people when you're saying all these crazy things?
Well, is it a third of the drugs that have been approved by the FDA have been pulled?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And how many of those have resulted in loss of life?
Yeah.
I mean, those numbers are probably hard to find.
And that's a double-edged sword too, because there are some medications that have done wonders for our
lonely rats.
For lonely rats. But I mean, there are some medications that people have been life-saving things, and then there's the ones that are like, "What is this? Why do I need this?
Yeah, is this even a thing?
But I should ask my doctor about it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he know about this or she?
I can't write a prescription for it, so why are you sending me the commercial? Exactly. Give it to my doctor. Put him on a trip like you normally do.
Right.
Give him some examples.
Yeah.
And buy my doctor off. Leave me out of it.
Yeah. Back when I worked for the other company that I worked for, we had a sort of delicatessen in there. But there was a guy that would come in, and he was one of those. He sold
the drug rep.
Yeah, drug rep. And let me tell you, the dude had every year he'd had a brand new car. And he was coming in and he just looked like he was made of money.
Yeah.
And he would just be like, yeah, I need 14 he would buy so much shit, platters,
titanium fidget spinner, probably.
Could be. Not from us. He wasn't buying it, but he was buying food. He was buying a lot of food, and then he would go buy wine. When I was leaving that company, he went and got me like a $200 bottle of scotch. Of course, it's gone now. I used to be an alcoholic. Well, I guess I still am. You can't say used to.
No, you're done. I think if you're done, you're just done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they say in the 12-step program, which I didn't go through, that you can't really say.
But that just makes you continually need that.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Live in sorrow.
Yeah. It makes me remember I'm a douchebag. I'm a loser.
Oh, no, you're not. Though.
I'm a loser, dude.
Yeah. That was yesterday. It doesn't even exist anymore.
I'm a loser for way more reasons than that, but
I don't agree with you. Yeah.
Self-deprecation.
Yeah,
it's
I
funny.
Know. Hey,
sometimes.
we all go through. We all think that.
I just do it for comic relief.
Yeah.
I've always done that though, like masked nervousness or whatever other emotion that I don't want to feel. I mask it with humor.
Yeah. I think the trick is to sit in that emotion and just let it go over you, and then it just dissipates.
Well, like I was confessing to you earlier that I sometimes imbibe the mushrooms. Yeah. I probably do it like twice a year.
Yeah,
and every time I do it, I do that, and like all the bullshit that I've been holding on to, that I've been repressing, that's like the dam breaks.
Yeah.
And it just goes, blah, and it just comes out. It's like, no, you're going to deal with this now. We'll be back in about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
It definitely chills me out.
It changes your perspective on everything, right? Mm-hmm. On everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the stuff that you used to think of that was important just kind of falls by the wayside.
Right.
It's like a scab falling off. It's like, I didn't really need that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what what's crazy about that is that is so damning that you can't take something that naturally grows out of the ground and eat that and ingest it.
Yeah.
Without losing your job or maybe going to jail.
Yeah.
Whatever. You name the consequence.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yet we can take these things that are that now are being fought against, but like fentanyl and God knows what else, it's, the people take that just kills you like that.
Probably all sorts of over-the-counter stuff we've been taking for years.
Well, you take enough aspirin, that'll be your last damn headache.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Cat Williams said that.
Yeah. There's a lot of stomach issues with some of these medications we've all been taking and whatnot. But
I mean, people used to get drunk on NyQuil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I did that once.
Did you really?
Oh, my goodness.
I used to do that to fall asleep in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, you take too much of that, and it's not fun.
No.
It's not pleasant. And it can do really harmful things to your internal organs, too.
Right. Yeah, but people can just go buy it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Although now I will say they've gotten so strict with over-the-counter stuff. We bought vitamin D3 from Walmart the other day, and I got flagged for are you 18 and above? Like somebody had to come over, and I'm like, look at me, and they didn't even ask. They just swiped the card. I'm like, Jesus, it's worse. That's almost worse than when you stop getting carded for alcohol. Because when they don't even ask you anymore, they just come over and go, "Have a nice day, sir."
Yeah, you're old. Thanks.
Like they didn't even need to look.
Yeah, but the vitamin D3, I mean, what are you going to do with that?
I have no idea. I don't know.
But 15 minutes of sunlight, you don't really, you get all that anyway, I think. But I don't know what the heck you'd get flagged for that for.
I don't know. I mean, we are a nation that's deprived. That's one of those things. I think it's, I don't remember, there's some statistics, but I think it's like 80% of Americans are vitamin D deficient.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that a lot of medical issues are caused by just simple lack of vitamins.
Yeah.
And when you go to your doctor, basically what they're just giving you is
vitamins,
the supplements. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've read that there was purposely something removed from food that people needed. I can't remember. I'm speaking at school. I don't.
Well, they've started to cut back on certain fats, like saturated fat, which is actually saturated fat apparently. And again, not an expert.
Yeah.
I have to look this up.
Yeah, not
but
either.
I feel like I think that the experts have said. That's just a disclaimer for you too.
Yeah.
That's like saturated fats is not bad for you. It's the trans fats.
Yeah.
That so they take out the regular fat.
Yeah.
And they like do all this crazy shit to it, and then they put it back in as trans fat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but apparently it'll clog your arteries quicker than, you make your head spin.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you one from the other.
It's just fat without a dick. That's all.
Jesus, Pat.
Yo.
All right. No,
yeah, but
I
your
mean,
brain needs fat to function.
It does.
And you need it to store vitamins and minerals. And I think, once upon a time we were all in ketosis where our bodies were deriving its energy from fat that was stored in our body.
100%.
But now that we're eating every 4 minutes or every 30 minutes, or like I used to every 2 hours, I felt like I needed to be consuming something. We're not in ketosis.
No, and it's straight carbs.
Yeah, it's just so it's converting everything to sugar.
Well, not only that, when you're in ketosis, I think your body actually kills bad cells. Does it not? Doesn't it feed off of bad cells?
Yeah, I think it's there's a term and it escapes me, and I'm no expert on this either, but it's called autophagy, where the body, if you go so long without eating, and your body's going to start devouring itself, which is when apparently if you have those harmful cells in your body, or old cells, or even tumors, cancerous cells, the body will consume those first. And I've heard that is a possible way of beating cancer naturally is you have to really calorie restricted diet. How long can a skinny guy like me do that for? But I don't know. But there's some benefits to that,
Well, you look very healthy. I don't know what you're talking about, skinny. You look good, man.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I got all this. I mean, but like she cooks.
Yeah.
And she bakes. So and everything's from scratch.
That's great.
So that's a lot of this. It could be a lot bigger. I would probably be a lot bigger if she wasn't like, and she's literally like making everything. Like if she made her own powdered sugar.
Yeah.
She made her own brown sugar. I'm just like, how do you even do that? I don't know, but she's learned how to do all those little weird things like that we would normally just go to the store and buy.
Yeah.
So she's doing all that. So I think it's, in that regard, it's a little bit healthier, and we don't eat a lot out.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we eat out.
Yeah, same here.
Although I will say, everyone left for the weekend.
Yeah.
So when I got off on yesterday, I went straight to Dairy Queen and got me a double with bacon, and they had a French silk blizzard.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I had one of those, but those are good.
Yeah.
I love blizzards.
And then I felt like complete ass that last night and almost all day today. I've just felt horrible.
I feel the same way if I haven't eaten pasta and bread in a while.
If you haven't eaten
I haven't eaten pasta and bread for a while.
You feel bad, or you feel better?
Well, if I have a big bowl of spaghetti and it's been weeks since I had that, those I just
put you down.
The next day, I just feel like I'm off. My digestive system's off. I just feel like sluggish and heavy.
Because that shit
brain
is glue.
fog.
It's glue.
Yeah,
it just gums up your guts.
Yeah.
And I mean, what is it? That 00 flour, I think, or something like that.
Something genetically modified grain.
No, 00 is apparently like what they used to use, or that's what they use like over in like Italy and places.
Like heirloom wheat,
so heirloom, yeah. But
so
the 00
ancient wheat.
Yeah, so it's 00 is the consistency of the flour. So it's been ground to the finest. But it may be that what you just said, the heirloom wheat.
Yeah.
But they grind it so fine, and it's finer than what the stuff we buy in a store.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's why it's 00. It's like all the way at the lowest setting.
Okay, that's the size.
I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've never actually got down and looked at a flour grain, but
yeah, let's do it sometime. We got some shrooms.
Bust out the bust out the old magnifying glass and the shrooms will eat a pizza.
Well, it's like when they had the We Are the World campaign, Let's Feed the World back in the 80s. Everybody and their brother who could sing was in on that album.
Yeah, live Farm Aid.
Even Cyndi Lauper. Anyway, yeah, so they had that, and I think around that time I think it was to grow the wheat germ quicker, they re-engineered the chromosome of the wheat germ or something.
Well,
and it made it to where our bodies didn't recognize how to deal with this. So it stores it as fat, I want to say.
I think you're right.
I think it has something to do with that.
They also modified it to withstand Roundup, weed killer.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
telling.
like your corn, I think 95% of the people who eat corn test for Roundup in their blood. Forget what the actual term of the chemical is. It'll come to me in a minute. But
which is like everybody in America probably, because the corn is our one thing that we have. It's like our one commodity, I think, that we export is corn.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I didn't know it was that important.
90 or 95%.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the only things that we export.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that corn really had a lot lot of nutritional value.
It doesn't.
It seems like,
doesn't.
Whenever I'm
Glyphosate.
sifting through my own feces, I see like it really
It's always there.
Nothing happened to it.
Corn and tomato skins.
Yeah.
What? I haven't had tomato skins. I don't think I sat down and had a plate of tomato skins and corn.
So I wonder if that's something they're going to tackle is the ethanol in our fuel. They've been.
Well, there's a documentary out called King Corn. You might want to take a look at it. But they document how like
The gorilla?
that's King Kong.
Okay. King corn.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And it's something about like because everything's got corn syrup, it's got corn derivative in like everything we eat and drink.
Yeah.
And it's something about like what did they say? It's like 80% of a human body is made up of corn.
What?
I've said that wrong. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
You'd have to look up the actual statistics that they pull up, but it's some crazy ass thing that but something about this percentage of corn inside your body or like corn derivative
Yes.
that is like part of your like makeup now.
Yeah.
Like what?
You ever watch the train go by and read all the codes on all them cars?
No.
With a hazmat book?
I have not.
One's rocket fuel, the next one's corn, high fructose corn syrup.
That's great. Those are good to trail each other.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
we're way invested in all that stuff to the point it makes you wonder why. Who's making out on all that stuff?
right. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think that if, let's say Trump never, he's still like, let's just say this is his first term. If that were the way it was and he made it and he's doing all this cool stuff, maybe by the second term, I don't know, would he be starting to, but he's not even taking a fucking salary still.
Yeah. I think he donates it to, veteran causes? I want to say?
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's one other president that has done that in our history.
Yeah. I don't know. I know he did it the first term.
Yeah.
He's doing it again from what I hear.
Yeah. So but people are like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's like making money somewhere else from all the things that he's doing. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But on the from outward experience or from outward, just the optics of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, he's not even taking a freaking salary. Like, I mean, I get that he's a fucking billionaire, but it's just like, how many other people have done that? Everybody's on the take.
Yeah.
Everybody is, even the Congress and all these people, there's no term limits, Like, I don't know how you feel about Nancy Pelosi, but I feel like it's time for her to retire. And I don't know much about her other than she's like really old.
Yeah.
And maybe she's not really old. Maybe that's just the position that she's in makes you look that way.
The guilt for making all that money from insider trading?
Well, she did freak out, and I saw that. I saw that video of her freaking out
Yeah.
about, they were like asking about, and should
Oh,
politicians or people in politics be allowed to trade? And she piped up and she was like, it's fair game. Like, no,
Yeah.
because you can make things move the way you want it to move.
Yeah, very influence.
I love the fucking thumbnails.
Well, she's retired, isn't she?
Is she?
No,
I don't
she's
think
still
she
in.
is.
She's not the speaker anymore, right?
Well, everything is under the guise of her husband. All of her stocks are in her husband's name.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
there's literally online. You can go to Pelosi Tracker or something like that, and it'll tell you all the stocks that they buy, and you can go
And
follow.
see, I would rather do
Yeah.
that because, what you're showing here, there's and this is the problem I have with media. Okay, the right and the left both do this. They take sound bites, they take clips, small clips, and then they'll chop them up to make it look like they said a certain thing.
Yes.
And people do it on the right and they do it on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that that's okay. Like, it's okay for a podcast. You want to cut out the ums and ahs and just make it more streamlined.
Yeah.
Cool. That's different. But when you're talking about something that's like that affects millions of people, like you need to show the whole thing. You can't just show things like out of context.
I mean, it's great to think like that. I agree with you 100% because it completely can change the meaning 180.
Yeah.
And then you're getting it. Well, is this libel? Is this slant? I mean, what is this?
Right.
How do you regulate it, for one? And then you go back to that old question: like, how do you regulate the First Amendment? So
that's a scary question you just asked.
it is.
Well, I mean, because that question is a question that should never even be asked.
How do you make sure there's no regulation?
Right.
Well,
and like with social media, because I think that's the new media. I mean, CNN, whatever. I mean, there's podcasts out there that have way more reach than any TV news that you could ever see.
Yeah.
But oh fuck! I just went brain dead.
Several come to mind. Just there's so many good ones out there.
Yeah.
There's so many people that you go back to Joe Rogan, his love for the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ever gave a shit about the money. I think he just wanted to have something that was interesting and uncover some things and maybe talk about jiu-jitsu in the process.
100%. But however, I wouldn't care if he was about the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a fucking entertainer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just an entertainer. He is a comedian. He's a talk show host. He's a cage commentator. He does all the things that he loves to do.
Yeah.
And he's very inquisitive.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a liaison for the population.
What he's doing and what these other podcasts are starting to follow his path, like the other ones we showed. I think it's super important.
Yes.
I think it's super important when you sit down and talk to a leading scientist about a question that you have as a civilian, just a human living in the world.
Yeah.
And he'll tell you all the time when they leave, he's like, that person scared the shit out of me, and I'm going to have to go back and watch that episode 15 times and take notes because I feel really dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, he talks about standing next to Elon Musk. He's like, I realized the scope of my stupidity.
Yeah. I'm not the smartest one in the room. Yeah.
No.
Usually that's the case. Otherwise it'd be kind of boring.
Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, you want your I mean, when he brings in, these experts, they're the smartest person in the room. I don't want to be. I don't want to even talk. I just like ask you questions and be like, shut the fuck up. I mean, this is a different podcast than that.
For sure.
But, less interviewee,
Yeah. His is definitely uncovering the truth, I think.
Yeah.
And,
he's curious.
He's very curious. Yeah. And I think that's the key.
I think more people need to be curious.
Yes. For sure.
I think that's where we're falling apart because they're not. And they get all their news in 8-second clips.
Well, everybody consumes now rather than discovers.
Right.
There's something with regard to the retrieval of information.
Get that mic up to you.
I don't know. Sorry. So when you and I did a research paper or whatever, I'm sure you've had to do something. And
I thought you meant like recently. I was like, I don't remember that.
Well,
I must have been on mushrooms.
We had to check out. We had to go to the library reference section. I mean, you're sitting down. You're there for hours checking out this book, that book. I remember how I used to have to photocopy pages out of the book, and and I had a great appreciation for that knowledge because I had to put a lot of time and effort to locate it. And now you can find anything under the sun at a moment.
Yep.
And you really didn't have to put any effort into it.
Right.
So I think there's a supreme lack of appreciation for the knowledge that is out there, and there's so much of it that you just kind of like, it's just over. It's too much.
It is too much
for some folks, and I can understand why they wouldn't have that desire to seek that knowledge. It's just too much.
Because it's going to be spoon fed to you.
And then you get some that is wrong, and that makes you question everything, right? So, yeah. It's so easy to find stuff out there.
It is. It's creepy. I always say that, and I say creepy because I don't think that humans, we have not evolved yet to the point where we are supposed to be taking in this much information all at once. I don't think. I think when we were taking in less information, I think it's great. I think that the idea of it is great, that all the information is right at your fingertips.
Yes. In storage of this information has always been a problem in the past.
Right.
Where to put it.
Right.
Who's got control of it.
Library of Alexandria.
Yeah,
Vatican.
Bottom of the Vatican. Yeah, who knows?
Who knows what they got
in
in
my attic.
Apparently, there's been camera dudes in there with 4K cameras waiting for the last 10 years when they opened. You see that when the Pope opened that? What was that? He opened up that. Oh God, I'm gonna lose it. This is a way off topic too, but he opened up this room that's not been opened for so long. I don't know how long.
The archives.
Was it the archives?
Something like.
It might have been the archives, but they were it was funny because he went in there. And it's not supposed to be anyone in this room. It was supposed to have been sealed.
Yeah.
But when he went in, there was a view from inside the room, a camera view from inside the room. Yeah. So it's like, hey, wait a minute. How long has that cameraman been in there with a 4K camera? That's so weird. This room's supposed to be literally sealed.
Yeah.
So that's always funny. I don't know where I was going with that, but it I don't suppose it matters.
Facade.
It's facade, you know. It's like if that doesn't tell you that everything is produced and scripted and it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's all in the studio somewhere. It's not actually shot on location anymore.
What is it the kids say these days? Go touch grass.
Yeah.
That's like a new thing that the kids are saying. But I mean, out of all the dumbass sayings that they've said, I like that one the most.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Go put your feet in the grass, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Get some dirt on you. It's all right. Yeah. It's good for you.
Yeah. You can call it whatever. You call it grounding or whatever you want to call it. But, yeah. It's getting in touch with our roots.
Yeah.
Where we come from.
Literally.
Yeah.
I remember, what was it? My mom used to, she would literally say when I was a kid and I get hurt, she said, rub some dirt on it. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like, you taught me to clean this thing. If I got a wound, I should clean it. We talking about rub some dirt on it. I don't know where that saying came from.
I don't know either.
It's like a toughen up or die.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know when I was a kid, if I was sick, there was no calling off school. We didn't get personal days. You know how kids now, they're like, I don't want to go in, I need a personal day.
They have a fair day. They take off a day just to go to the fair.
I can get with that. That's fun and that's great. But when kids are like, I need a personal day.
Yeah.
Sorry, what? Yeah. You better get your ass up and go to school. Yeah. There was no personal days. I didn't get I'm super stressed out. No, it did not matter how stressed out I was. I had to go to school. I had to go be there. If that meant the guy that was my bully told me that tomorrow at 4:00 I'm gonna beat your ass in the parking lot, and that's why I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch that ass whooping. I don't. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I just think that the kids are a little too.
Nature versus nurture.
I think there's a lot of nurture, but I think. Do you think that we're getting out of that a little bit?
Well, I think everything is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything is cyclical.
Yeah.
The only constant is change.
Yeah, generations. Generations like my parents and their parents. Just had a totally different experience than my generation.
Yeah.
My grandparents. Well, you don't know this probably, but they on my dad's side, they grew up in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And this is during the Dust Bowl. They're past now. They did during the Dust Bowl, and they beat feet of California, much like the Grapes of Wrath, that book. And of course, they didn't want their kids to have to live through that, and they wanted better. And of course, it made that generation a little bit softer, perhaps, for that.
Yeah.
So I think it just all comes full circle eventually.
And when the less things you have to worry about, the less things you have to think about, your brain starts going on overdrive about other shit, like things that are not important.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know like our grandparents, they you said they lived through like the Great Depression and all this stuff. And it's just like, we don't know how hard it is because they went through that. So we don't have to deal with it.
They didn't throw anything away that they thought could be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember all those old movies that when they first, when I was a kid, and you'd see those movies where it was like silent movies or black and whites for sure. And there would be a guy, and a lot of them were comedies like Laurel and Hardy and stuff like that, but they'd have like a hole in the bottom of their shoe, and they'd just get a paper and roll it up or fold it up and then put it down to the bottom of their shoe, and they're like, all fixed.
Yeah.
I'm straight now.
Yeah.
But I imagine there were people that actually lived that way.
Yeah.
You learn how to darn your socks. You learn how to, do a lot of things.
Yeah, hunting, fishing,
Yeah.
kill and catch your own food.
Saving bacon fat.
Yeah.
Yep. Making your own lard and they didn't I don't think they called it beef tallow back then. It was just like lard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would be nice. It would be nice to have kids be interested in things, but I mean, until there's a group of kids or like a generation of children that grow up and they're like very history minded and they're like, well, that's really cool that they used to do that. I would like to do that too. Yeah. And then they start searching and like researching and learning how to do that. And then maybe then there'll be like a new, or it's going to come from necessity. Like you have to do this.
We're going to die.
I think that's probably where it's going to come from.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you have no faith for the way the world's going?
Otherwise, why would there be? There has to be a need for that.
Yeah.
That quest for knowledge.
Yeah.
Has to be a need for it for people to spend any energy on trying to get it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting times we're living in, right? Isn't that the old Chinese curse?
Yeah.
May you live in interesting times.
I never heard that.
I tell you, I think this is the best time to be alive as a human.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've got running water, electricity.
I ordered groceries, and the dude brought them to my house the other day.
Yeah.
Because I was too fucking lazy to go.
So we've done quite a bit with this, like you say, evolution.
Yeah.
It hasn't done us a lot of favors because we're not equipped to live like this.
No, we're not. I think maybe in 100 years or so, maybe 1,000 years. I say 100 years, that's like one person, Yeah.
Yeah, one generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a person. I'm rounding up.
Yeah.
But a person lives roughly
76
70
now
to 80 years or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
100 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're very lucky. I'm not sure I want to live to see 100.
Yeah.
I'm sure my kids would. They would love to see me be 100, but I'm like, dude, I mean, do you know how badly my body hurts now? Can you imagine? It's just not gonna be a good scene.
Yeah, well, don't think about it.
I might do a Thelma and Louise or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right off the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the average lifespan, I think, in the U.S. is 76.
I think so.
So I'm 53. I can't consider myself middle-aged. No, that was some time ago.
Yeah.
Middle age was in my 30s, right?
Yeah. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
38's half of 76.
Yeah, so, I mean, time's a ticking.
Yeah.
can't get spooled up about a bunch of stuff that's
no and
important.
One thing I like about you is that you're very, and I don't know if it's just your demeanor or you just seem very laid back all the time, very chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it maybe didn't used to be. Man, I used to be in my head so much.
Yeah.
Always like in love with my thoughts.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, in love with that.
In love with turmoil in your thoughts?
The highs and the lows, drama, the excitement, just, yeah.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
And the only thing that's really brought me out of that is doing meditation a couple times a day. You know, just sitting in silence.
How long do you do it?
I don't do it every day,
Mm-hmm.
but when I do it, it's probably 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll sit, before I go to work, in complete quiet. And of course, you got stuff around you. I'm in my truck waiting to go inside, and there's traffic going by, but you just try to tune all that out.
Right.
And being still and being quiet and just letting the thoughts come and go. Don't get attached to any of them is really beneficial.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people can't sit in silence. It's just too much.
It's too loud.
It's too loud.
It's deafening.
Silence
Yes.
is deafening.
Yes.
I can't go to sleep without I keep like rain sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I try to go to sleep without some kind of noise, some kind of white noise,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I used to have music on all the time.
Yeah.
Phone was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And fall asleep with that.
Yeah.
And then I noticed when the music would stop, and I'd set it for 45 minutes, an hour, or whatever, the music would stop.
You wake right up.
I would wake up. And it's like, this ain't working. But yeah, so I've alternative methods. It's something besides Valium that I was taking, which worked.
Yeah.
But then you get used to that, and you have to take more and more, and it's just it's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But meditation helps me quite a bit, and there's a guy I follow on YouTube, and he calls it the silent prayer, and he has a whole website and organization and his own television show now, and he's pretty popular. I don't think I'll mention him because some people don't really.
You could tell me afterwards.
Yeah, some people don't appreciate his message. But yeah, he calls it the silent prayer, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems to help me and keeps me in focus. And then when I get used to letting those thoughts come and go,
Mm-hmm.
not hold on to them, I catch myself when I start thinking. I'm creating my own reality
Right.
with these thoughts, thinking things. Oh, the way that person looked at me, I bet they're upset because something that happened last week. Well, it's just total bullshit.
Right.
It's not the case at all, but it's what I'm ginning myself up to believe
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in love with those feelings of the emotions and all that stuff. And
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's something that I think we're all the same in that regard. Yeah, I think we're all the same. And,
I think it's a part of survival.
until we start working on ourselves
Yeah.
and sitting in that silence is difficult to do.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
You're talking about self-deprecating.
Mm-hmm.
We all, I think we're all the same.
Very-
Our thoughts can go down that road. I'm not adequate enough.
We're our
I should have
own
done this
worst
better.
critics.
Yeah, I should have done that better. Yeah, sitting in silence.
Is that your prescription for the world right now? Dr. Dave says you guys need to sit
There was
silence for 20 minutes.
I think there's something to it.
there was one thing you told me a couple weeks ago, and that was just let your ego die.
Yeah,
That's huge.
Yeah, ego
die.
death.
That's really what I get. And I don't I know people probably think it's weird to like I'm not turning to any substances for help. But they're like when I do it twice a year or however often I decide to do it.
Yeah.
When I do take mushrooms, that is really the biggest benefit that I've had is that you realize your ego's a liar.
Yeah.
and it needs to go bye-bye. I mean, yeah, it's good to have a little bit, just confidence, not ego, but just, I think there's a healthy level, but the majority of your ego is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Like the more you have, I think the worse off we're going to be.
Yeah.
I think
so too. I agree with you.
And the less you have, the more humble you are.
Yeah. And I think when people talk about spirituality and having a rebirth, it's their ego has died. And they are actually awakened now.
Right. Not woke.
Yeah, not woke. No. But yeah, there's ego death.
That's huge. Yeah. That sounds like a very Terrence McKenna-y thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
The death of the ego.
Yeah, I get that vibe too.
Yeah.
It's very important though. Very important messaging.
100%. Kill your ego, folks.
Let it die.
Well, it all starts with forgiveness.
Forgiveness of oneself or just everything?
Yeah, forgiveness. Forgive your parents, and forgive your mother for giving you her hell, and your father for not protecting you from your mother, and
or whatever situation.
And then you forgive yourself.
Yeah.
The self-deprecating behavior. You got to forgive yourself for not being perfect.
Mm.
And that's the start, is the forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I think everything falls in place after that. And, and we can talk more after.
Yeah.
But
when you kill your ego, it opens up a lot more room for other things, for better things in your life, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
It's not taking up any more space, and it has no more real estate in your brain.
Yeah, well, we're all just nothing, right? We're all just beings.
Yeah, we're having a human experience.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like it all the time. Sometimes you're like, when are we gonna get off this ride, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna happen. We're all gonna get there.
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush, but I'm also like, kind of curious is what's happening over there, because you never get to talk to the people that left.
Yeah,
because they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the ones that say they died and they came back and like, I saw a great white light.
Yeah,
like my grandmother, she was dead. They pronounced her dead. They walked away from the room.
They just didn't tell her.
No, she was literally dead.
Wow.
Yeah, like heart stopped, everything. Now they don't. Back then, I don't think they had the monitors like we have now to monitor brain activity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But she was dead for a good minute. I don't know how long. I can't remember how long. But and then she just popped right up on that table, and they turned around and came back. They're like, "Oh, okay," So, but she, of course, had a story of the great beyond. And that she was climbing a chain, and through the clouds, everything was white. And that she was climbing this chain, and that a hand came down and put it on her forehead and said, "Not yet, Molly. You got work to do." And boom, just pushed her back, and she fell back, and that's when she woke up.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, you might have had an out-of-body experience. We don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Mythical. What do you call it? Not mythical, but like the psych. What?
Mystic.
Mystical. Mystical. All that paranormal is the word I was hunting. But yeah. A lot of questions there.
Yeah. Some think this is just a vessel.
It is. It's a vehicle. Vehicle.
For the spirit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's hard to know. There's an awful lot of thought put into it, and a lot of fear.
That's true.
And anger that it causes, worrying about all that stuff. Like what is it? They know elephants can perceive that, they're going to die.
Yeah.
And
they also remember what they look like, what each one of them looks like. They can tell who the other one is by looks.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, that's just a theory that somebody has.
I think even a chicken can recognize like up to 300 different people.
You think so?
Faces.
Is that real?
Yeah.
They can attribute different people to different things like food or they're an asshole or, But yeah. Chickens are
What do you
somewhat
think
smart.
they say when you walk outside?
I'm hungry. Feed me. Fuckers.
Oh, dear Lord.
Some of them live rent free.
Mine are freeloaders right now.
Yeah.
We actually got an egg yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or I'm sorry, that was this morning.
You know why they're not producing?
Well,
Because the egg prices are so high.
yeah.
They know their worth.
Yeah.
We're not giving up the fucking eggs.
Man, there was a big drop off in egg production for us like the last year or two.
Is that right? What do you do when that happens?
There was something, they were fiddling with the protein levels in the feed.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah. Like one company bought another company out. It was Land O'Lakes got bought out by Purina or vice versa.
Yeah, it's Purina.
And then the next thing you know, none of the damn chickens are laying. We're giving them the same feed. And then there was a story that broke on the internet about, and I think it was a farmer who has a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about that they had measured, they took their own money and, measured this food. And they had been fiddling with the protein to an extent that they're not going to lay eggs, which is going to cause the consumers to go buy
Eggs
from
grocery
Land O'Lakes or wherever they were. And I think a lot of them were in Florida. But yeah,
I didn't know that.
They were fiddling. They were screwing around with the feed. Apparently,
Wow.
yeah.
I was not aware of that.
And I guess that didn't work, so they kill all these birds or something. I don't know.
And this is all sorry to interrupt. This is all happening around the same time that they yanked the right for people who own cows, chickens, livestock. They yanked the right for you to go and buy antibiotics and medicine.
Yeah.
And animal pharmaceuticals for your livestock. At the same time that this was happening,
It's Joe Rogan's fault because he took that horse dewormer.
Ivermectin, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bought duramycin at the local feed store and would have to inject some of my chickens when they get sick with the duramycin. And then the next thing you know, like you said, they locked them all up.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a prescription.
Yeah.
From a vet.
And I understand they don't want antibiotics overused.
Right.
Because
that can cause,
Yeah, you just so I get it, but it seemed like it was just one more way of controlling society. And
Do you think it was that, or do you think it was, well, here's a cheaper way to do it? We can if we just take this and just cut it by this much, we can save ourselves billions of dollars.
No, because now you have to have the individual go pay a vet for the prescription. You know what I mean? So
Well, I'm just talking about the feed
Oh, okay.
in general.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it seems to me like a lot of companies do that. I actually have an insider information that there are certain companies that sell food products that will shrink the size of the bag. Like anytime you see the price go up on a certain item, look at the size.
Well, that happened at COVID.
And compare it to one that you have, like an empty container you may have at home.
Yeah.
And you'll see, and it's always like, it'll be like it'll go from 16 ounces to 15.5
or
and like and some numbers and a slash.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I've seen like products change. The construction of a product,
right?
For instance, change, and I don't think it's to make it a better product. I think it's maybe to cut down the shipping costs, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or make you have to buy another one sooner.
Well, and you can make that many more units if you take a little bit out.
Yeah.
And you put that much. It's just more units now, and then you can make more money.
Yeah.
And everything is, like he always says, just follow the money. And I mean, without incriminating myself, because I'm not trying to lose my job.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. I don't want to lose mine either.
Eventually, I will not care.
Yeah.
But at any rate, it's just there's a lot of corporate greed, I think.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of, back in the day, there used to be people that like gave a shit about their consumers. Mm-hmm. People that are consuming their products or their services. They were like, customer's always right. Well, now the customer's an asshole.
Yeah.
But why do you think that is? because we've been screwed over so many times by a lot of companies, a lot of people. We've either taken medications that were forced down our throat, or we've eaten food that has made us desperately ill, or just you name it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's why that's why Karen exists. Honestly.
Because that's the way you got to be to get what's rightfully yours.
You have to
in
now.
A sense.
Yeah, and God bless Karens all over the world. I can't do the thing with the hand. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, my heart goes out to all of y'all.
Yeah.
Love you, Karen.
Can't do that. I don't want to do that. Definitely not involved in the other thing that person was accused of being. You know what I'm talking about, right? Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in front of a crowd. I don't remember what he was talking about, but he was having a literal autistic moment. He's full autistic.
He's a genius.
He's super genius.
Yeah, so he's probably on the spectrum.
He's definitely on the spectrum.
Yeah.
He's talked about it.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't know if you call it stemming or having a tick or whatever it was, but he did what I've seen a lot of politicians do, but the way he did it looked a lot like, it looked an awful lot like that.
Yeah, it was,
yeah.
Oh, I hadn't. Yeah.
There's a bunch of conspiracies.
So
him being a Nazi.
Again, those thoughts. Those
yeah.
people are thinking these thoughts.
They're in love with their thoughts.
Yeah.
And they're totally wrong.
Yeah.
You know. So.
But when does thought and opinion become fact? Never.
Yeah.
Probably never, right? That should be the answer. But a lot of people think that their thoughts and their opinions are the right thing. They think that it's right.
Going back to intellectualism, people that are so smart, they believe everything that they lay down.
Yeah.
You know, they can justify everything they do because they're smart enough to rationalize everything.
Right. It makes so much sense to me. How come you don't see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the opposition.
Mainstream archaeology.
Yeah.
That's a big one right now. With all these other findings of like younger dryas impact theory and everything like that. I don't know if you watched the Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock episode on Joe Rogan, but
I've seen them on there numerous times.
Yeah, that was
and Randall Carlson.
It was like one of those, but it was like you aren't part of the club. You have no right to speak about this type of things. And
right.
We just totally got shut down for that way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, science is like that now. A lot of scientists have been like that for years. You know, especially if they've had their stuff published in a textbook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You better not find my theories wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. This is mine. This is my name.
Right. I proved.
I feel very strongly about
this is correct.
Yeah. And like you're a scientist, it's worth their salt is going to be open to other thoughts.
That's. I mean, when I thought science was you always leave a question for what if.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
You know, what if there's something else?
Go take a leak real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, and that falls back to the ego. You know, taking the ego out of it.
Yeah, I think it's on me. I want it to be on you. I think he left it on me. I would rather you be on camera.
Gee, thanks.
You're welcome. Well, you know, like I said, no, man, I do appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with us.
Well,
for nothing else, you get out of the house, right?
I appreciate the offer, and I was very taken aback by it, and I'm not going to say no.
Well, I like hanging out with you.
Yeah,
and you know, I love Patrick. You know, I love him to death.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot to love there.
Yeah, I'm super happy that the union happened.
Yeah, me too.
You and Nancy are like some of the coolest people I know. I mean, I love her activism. Yeah. You know, she's constantly, trying to make. It's like she's like trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
One corner of her world at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that it's a lot. I know it stresses her out probably, but I mean, she's doing good work.
Yeah. I used to try to shut her down. It's like you can't save the world,
right?
You know.
Yeah. Good luck.
But her like you said, her little corner of it, she can.
Yeah.
And so she does a lot of community.
I love that
outreach type stuff.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And shout out Shout out. Nancy, thank you for all that you do.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of the good things that are happening here in our area, direct area, I feel like she's done a lot of work. To do that, and I know what it takes, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there was some construction when I lived in the old house in Woodbridge. There, they had blocked off our entire entryway with a median.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that, because they wanted to put a turn lane with a light going into the school, Doctor's Inlet.
Okay.
Well, they like didn't even think about the people that live right across the street.
Yeah.
So I would have to go about half a mile down the road and make a dangerous U-turn on that road.
Rush hour traffic.
And rush hour traffic. Yeah. And so I didn't like it, and I thought it was probably unsafe. And I said, and so I started every day. I'd get home and I would write like a full letter to, they say, call your congressman.
Yeah.
Well, I looked them up and I started emailing them every day.
Nice.
And I did that for a couple months.
Yeah.
And because I told him somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Ended up being me. I ended up getting rear-ended right there and having to have surgery.
Wow.
To replace the discs in my neck. But it was not like I was going to sue anybody or anything. Yeah. I just kind of wanted the guy's insurance to pay for it, but that didn't happen either. Sounds like I'm bitching right now, don't it? I'm not. Yeah. But eventually, I'll never forget when I came out and there was trucks out there and an excavator, and they were ripping that median in half.
Yeah.
And they made a space, and then they had to reposition the entire sewage line.
Yeah. And
they put a sewage grate right in the middle of the road next to the median that they left. And I was like, well, look at that. You made it. You found a solution. And all I said was like, listen, if you can't fix that, maybe get with the people that built this development and see if they can just pop us out somewhere else. Give us another entrance.
Yeah.
Because there ain't one.
Yeah.
But it's what I'm getting at is it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody. She's got a leg up on me. She knows a lot of people out here.
Yeah, that does help. That does help. Yeah, and when you can get other people that are like-minded, the things that you can accomplish are amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to see, what's going on out here. I'm excited for it to be done.
The construction.
Yeah, we're going through growing pains right now, but I think that happens a lot, not just here.
Yeah.
Got to spend them tax dollars.
A lot of people moved in here from, I think, New York and California, getting away from the devastating taxes and
California for
mismanagement,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot.
But going back to what you were saying about community and people like yourselves and, my wife who they find something they don't like, they don't just deal with it and live with it. They feel empowered by our local system here, where you can go before the Board of County Commissioners on a meeting and voice your opinion. And it's just amazing what you can get done when you do it for the right reasons, first of all, but then you're steadfast in it and you hold to that and you hold other people accountable.
I think the biggest hurdle is just the doing of that.
Yeah, they're putting that time aside.
Well, a lot of people don't even get involved.
Well, shit, I worked all day. I'm tired. The last thing I want to do is go to some meeting. I'm just going to sit home, kick my feet up, watch whatever's on TV or what. It's so easy to fall into that. I do it too,
Sure.
But we've got a good group here in Clay County. A lot of good commissioners. A lot of people that want our community in Clay County to not just be a bedroom community for the greater Jacksonville area,
right,
but want it to grow in the right ways for our next generation.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough
because there's a lot of weird things that could happen in growth.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I grew up like Mandarin used to be a small town,
right,
and now it's like it's gross.
It's just all part of the bigger metropolitan area or Jacksonville area, right? It's all like the same.
It's just gross. Like from where I grew up, I remember literally it was a 2-lane road and there was trees everywhere. Yeah. That was it. And now it's 6 lanes and there are no trees left.
Yeah. Now Blanding's, the joke is 20-something miles of, storefront.
It is.
So.
It is.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's.
That's my new favorite word. I'm
Creepy?
Anything that's weird is
Trying it on
it's
for
size.
creepy.
Yeah.
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 Well, man, I don't want to hold you up no more. I know you're probably itching to get back in that recliner and see your puppies.
Yeah. Watch that TV so I know what to think.
Yeah.
Oh, you got something there?
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Please.
Plug it.
So
Plug it.
Oh.
So Impact Clay is a group of professionals, and their office is right here on College Drive, not right here, but down the street. And Impact Clay is a group of people that are like-minded professionals that are trying to help those that need help, and that can take many forms. What we currently have going on, and I could hold this up, but it'd probably be really small for you to see it, so I'll just read off this card. This is the Impact Clay Train, and it's the 2025 itinerary. And you can find this at impactclay.org, by the way. Go to the website.
I didn't think they had one. All right.
Yeah.
I was trying to show him, hey, pull it up.
Yeah,
He's like, nah, we don't need to do that.
Impactclay.org. And I just want to do a quick shout out to Connie Thomas and all the other people that work with her. There's countless to name. But we have this group called Impact Clay Train, and it's a train of sorts. It's different groups getting together every month. It's the third Saturday. We get together. There's benefits assistant. There's a medical car where you can get a medical screening and maybe get some help with medications that you need. The mental health car.
Wow.
Addiction
Huge.
services, food pantry, clothing, hairstyling, books, life and spiritual coaching, and community support. And we have folks coming from other counties, not just Clay County. For instance, the last one we did was in Keystone. That was January 18th at Keystone High School. And we had people coming from the adjacent counties, and they're just, like a lot of folks, struggling,
Is that who? I mean, who exactly is this program targeting? Like, who is it? Who are your people that you're looking for?
Anybody that you could be new to the area and not know what benefits are available to you. You could have lived here your whole life, and all of a sudden you're faced with having difficulty feeding yourself because of the cost and clothing yourself.
How long has this been running?
This is the second year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's operated on grant monies, and we have a new location. Last year was 3 locations: Keystone Heights, Clay Hill, and Grove Park Elementary. And starting in April, we're going to be in Green Cove Springs as well. So we're trying to cover all corners of the county.
Right.
And it's just a good group of people, professionals, and we have doctors that are there willing to assist people. If you want to just come out and help us, we have a lot of volunteers, and those numbers keep growing. The number of patrons that we help at each location, and this is, mind you, only 2 hours. It was from we've changed the timing. It was 11 to 1. I think it's 10 to noon now. And just in those 2 hours, we have over 100 people come. And either, they may go through every car. They might get a haircut. They might get signed up for services that they didn't know they qualified for, benefits.
That's huge.
Might learn how to register, how to vote, get a checkup from an actual doctor.
Right.
And just get all those things that you and I maybe take for granted.
Right. Oh, I don't take it for granted. I tell you, I took life for granted when I was married, and then when that ended, and I left that marriage with nothing. I had nowhere to live. I just had a couple boxes of clothes. Thank God I had a good friend to take me in, but I mean, when I finally decided to go get my own, because I'm a very independent person.
Yeah.
I want to be out on my own. I love my friend Roy. He took me in. He helped me out. But I just was like, I got to get my own stuff. But I didn't have anything. And I had a job, so I'm working. But everything costs so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was just like, plus when you're in a marriage for 20 years, you kind of like share the responsibilities of the finances.
Sure.
And I let her do the majority of it.
Yeah.
And so I was like dumb.
Yeah.
I needed help.
Yeah.
I needed all the help. So I could have really used program like this at that time. It would have been super beneficial for me.
Yeah, we have a lot of good groups there.
That's fantastic.
A lot of them are church organizations that they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, gathering all these items, and it's just a really good group. And I urge anybody that lives in Clay County or in the surrounding counties just to come check it out. And again, it's impactclay.org, and come check us out. It's 2 hours every third Saturday, different location. And so we'll hit each location 3 times every year. And just come check it out, see what it's about.
And if you would like to volunteer your time, how do they get a hold of you guys? Just go here and go to the contact?
Go to the contact information, and there is a phone number. It's at the bottom of the site, and it's 904-330-1848.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
there's all the contact information there, guys. Please, if you're in need of help and assistance, utilize this program, and hopefully it grows into something that will help a lot more people over time.
It has grown quite a bit just over the last year.
Yeah.
And this being our second year, we've got stories of people that we've helped.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah,
the success stories.
It could be somebody that was trying to get away from an abusive relationship that was able to make a clean getaway, and or people that had going through cancer and looking for alternatives. They can't afford the normal route to take, and they're pointed in the direction that can give them the assistance they're looking for. So yeah, a lot of benefits to that, and I think we need more of that. And just being a part of that. There's something of surrounding yourself with people that are better than you, which I've done by being part of this group. It's very humbling.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can. So.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I know it's got to feel good.
Yeah.
To help people.
Yep.
You know, I've always been a giver. Yeah. You know, I'd rather give gifts at Christmas than receive them.
Yeah.
And you're giving a powerful gift.
Well,
so
it's not me. I'm just a small part of the cog.
Well, I say you're part of it.
Yeah.
I mean that Impact Clay train. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's really dope. I like that. I think a lot of people benefit from it. And thank you I wish you should have told me that earlier, man. We could have been talking about that for hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I met a single mother of 2 from New York last year at the Orange Park location. I think it was in July last year. And she was like just amazed at how there was things like this going on in the community. Like there was none of that, and she's from New York City.
Yeah, there's no community there.
No, she's like, wow, I had the opportunity to like meet my county commissioner and actually like meet the people that make the local society
legislation.
Yeah, and just being able to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Really,
I think that's
really
important,
cool,
and I've always said that. Like, I think that if we start paying more, and I know that I say think, but I know for a fact that we need to pay more attention to local politics. And I think that if we did that and got more familiarized with the people that are here, that are actually closest to us, I think we'll be much better off and we'll be more in the know.
Yeah, I think so too. I think those are the people that are going to move up into bigger roles.
I do agree with you. And I think
if we have those right people,
not only that, but those are the people that directly affect us probably more so than our federal government.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, if they're out there on D.C. answering for us, then
right.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Yeah.
States' rights.
Yeah.
States' rights.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, man. Thank you. And next time, I'll have to have you and Nancy come on, and we'll talk more about that and all her little philanthropic things.
Cool.
And we'll have the whole family on.
Woo-hoo.
That's just how we're going to do it.
Whole family.
I mean, I thought about having my own kids come sit down with me, but it'll be Gabby, Patrick, and Liam and me.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna leave him nowhere. But Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming.
Thank you.
It's always
my pleasure.
A good time.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go. I say grab a drink, but I don't really drink. But I'll buy you a cold one or something.
Yeah. Cool, man. I don't drink that much anymore either.
Well, just hang out.
Yeah.
You're someone I like to hang out with.
Yeah, same here.
Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody say goodbye to Mr. David McDaniels.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.